Hi everyone, I'm Garret Nowell, the Director of Log Procurement for Independent Stave Company. I'm here today with you in the Ozark Forest, found in Missouri, and we're going to look at some of the great material that we purchased for World Cooperage barrels, what makes that fine grain and extra fine grain stock. One of the reasons that white oak grows so good in this region and throughout the central hardwoods is because of the soil types found here. Now when people think of trees, a lot of times they want to say the faster the better, but actually for cooperage stock, for that wine, that fine grain material, you actually want it to be growing slower. And a lot of where this white oak is here on this hillside and throughout our region is because of its soil type is slightly poorer than the average. So it's got a lot of rock, a lot less dirt than what would be normal, but the reason that that's causing this material to create such fine quality timber is because it's growing slower and creating the kind of grain structure that we're looking for inside of a World Cooperage barrel. So one of the main characteristics that you're going to see with white oak right here behind me is going to be this silver bark. It's going to have that deep fissures, and as it goes up the tree, you're going to see it turn into more flaky, almost peeling off the side of the tree. So that's the first characteristic. The other characteristic that you can pretty easily see is the leaf itself. Now with white oak, you can see here that it's got lobes around each corner, and they're rounded, versus a red oak, where if a red oak, it would actually have needles off each end of it. Now white oak is also grown on slightly different sites than other species. So this white oak, Quercus alba, is usually on the side slopes of these hills where the soil type is best fit for it. Not too far down the bottom and not so far on top of the ridge where it can't survive. One of the things that makes white oak different on the inside versus other species, and why it's important to our cooperage stock material, is something called tyloses. So that tyloses is actually what creates a almost leak resistant barrier inside the wood. If you look at the cambium layer and inside the growth rings, you'll almost see little air pockets in most species. Now those air pockets inside a white oak are actually closed by something that's called tyloses, helping create that leak resistant barrier. So what we look for in a cooperage stock white oak tree is the bottom 12 foot of the log. It usually has little to no limbs on it, no defects on the inside or outside, only the highest quality. Now, the average age of the tree that we use inside of a barrel is about 100 years old. Now, white oak itself can live to be 100 to 150 plus years old on average. Now this tree right here that we're sitting next to specifically is going to be over 120 years old. Now white oak is just like anything else, the entire forest. It's just like a garden at home. At some point, these trees do reach full maturity and need to be harvested, or they will fall over and die just like anything else. So as being out here in the forest today, we're going to make sure that we're doing sustainable practices, managing the forest in a way that we can not only create the next forest, but take out the trees that have reached full maturity. We're actually standing in the middle of a forest that was being sustainably managed. It had a responsible harvest over 35 years ago, and you can see all of these trees that have grown up, this white oak that's here beside me, but also hickory, red oaks that you find throughout the eastern hardwood region that are coming back because management activities are being done. So when people think about sustainability, it's not just large trees that are standing out there with no growth underneath, nothing on the forest floor. That's actually not part of a long-term sustainable plan. Now the one thing that oak needs to be able to survive for the next generation is sunlight. If you get 50% or more sunlight on the forest floor, then that tree is going to shoot right back up and create the next forest. Even underneath us right here where you see these small seedlings, these seedlings down here could be anywhere from just 1 year old to as old as 20 plus years old. Now what they're doing is growing and dying back, waiting for that activity to open the canopy above so that it can grow up to be that next generation.